We're going to take the North and never give it back.
So that's a good pick. You get the corner. I got to go bold, right? I got to go bold for this.
Yeah, she's got some nice long
Welcome back to the Unbearable Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Barron. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're out there on YouTube, and also rate the show 5 stars everywhere that you get your podcast. Happy Thursday, and we're going through another group of draft prospects. And if you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe out there, because we're keeping you covered for the NFL draft, so you know everything about all the different prospects. And we have our free draft guide out now with, I think it's over 150 pages now, or we're right about to 150 pages. Completely free. We have all sorts of extra little badges inside of it that just kind of help you learn a little bit more about the players, what transitions, all sorts of awesome stuff. Just click the link down below and stay tuned, because every 2 days I seemingly am putting out more and more draft profiles, and they all kind of correlate to the positions that we've gone through. So if you haven't already, check out the other draft profiles that we've done, such as we've done running backs, safeties, defensive ends. Now we're doing D tackles. By the end of it all, we'll go through all the main positions that we need to worry about as Bears fans. So like I said, you want to make sure to stay tuned, because we're going through it all. I think I have 20 different profiles written up just for today, just that we'll be going through for this show. What's good, everyone? J2K, what's good, my friend? Joe, hope you're doing all well out there indeed. So let's get into some defensive tackles. And just curious, who's everyone's favorite defensive tackle out there? Because as we get started, what do the Bears need at defensive tackle? And I think, at first I didn't really think of it as a big need. But then when you actually look into it, you go, okay, we actually probably do need at least somebody. Because even though that we have Grady Jarrett, and we also have the new slimmed down Gervon Dexter, or quote unquote slimmed down. Now, the reason why I put it in quotes, Gervon has said that he's the exact same weight. It's the angle. He didn't actually slim down. It's the shirt. It's everything. Supposedly, he's the same weight. And I know some people were saying, is he a defensive end? It does not look like that is going to be the case. But those are the 2 starters for the Bears. Then also Andrew Billings coming back from a pectoral injury. But then also you have Zach Pickens and also Chris Williams. Chris Williams, I thought, was pretty decent for us, but you can always upgrade. And Zach Pickens is one that, as we know, I'm not super encouraged with it, just because you never saw a step forward. You saw kind of the same old, not a lot of progression with them. And that's why I think, like with Zach Pickens, why I think most of us kind of, I don't want to say give up on him, but why we're kind of in that vein is because we really didn't see anything that looked different, looked better than his rookie season. So hopefully he can, but this is why we're talking about defensive tackles. I don't think it's like a super high priority need, because you're talking about a backup, but it'd be something nice because you do rotate these guys out quite frequently. So let's get into this, and we're going to go with the same model that we did for the tight ends, where we're going to talk about the back end players first, and then we're going to start going all the way up, sneaking on up to the top, and we can talk about the top dog. I think we all know who the top dog is, but let's get right into it and talk about 6th and 7th rounders, because I wanted to start out with kind of these true sleepers at the defensive tackle position. And I got to be honest, I couldn't really see everyone that I saw. I didn't really see somebody that stood out as, oh man, we definitely want one of these guys. Because I've said this on the show before, defensive tackle is one of those very sneaky positions that you can't necessarily find too late in the drafts. The top players go in the first round because they're a rare blend of just size, speed, production, athleticism. There's not many gigantic human beings that can move the way D tackles do. Now, 6th and 7th, I was like, I'll just bring up a couple. Like I said, the Bears do not draft anybody in the 6th, 7th round when it comes to D tackle. I'll just say it like that. If they were, I found 2 that I like, but as you can already tell by my voice, not necessarily in love with. We're talking about one of them is Tonka Hemingway out of South Carolina, 6'3", 284. The consensus 234th player, defensive tackle number 28. The reason why I bring this guy up, yet again, I'm not saying I'm in love with this guy, but way down, he's someone that's at least interesting, maybe as a UDFA. Because of the lightweight, I really like the way that he moves laterally. And I think that he's not necessarily, I'm kind of cheating here. I actually don't think he's a D tackle. I think he's more so a defensive end. He's very, very bendy, especially for like a 7th rounder. This guy can bend. But do I really want that at a D tackle? I like his lateral movements. I think he's got good pop. Used to be a basketball player, all-state basketball player. So very, very athletic player. I would throw him more as a defensive end, even though that he's kind of that defensive tackle type of piece. Also, Broski, see you out there in the chat. What is good, my friend? I see a couple other people. We got Cam Jackson out of Florida State. Yeah, a couple people out there too. And then next little player that I just want to talk about in the 7th, 6th round, like I said, we won't go too far into this, is Ty Hamilton out of Ohio State. This is somebody that I do like a little bit more. He's number 200 on the consensus big board, defensive tackle number 24. Reminds me a little bit of Deshaun Hand, PFF grade of 66.5. And what sticks out to me is at 6'3", 299, I felt like he played bigger. He was pretty darn strong. Like his only pass rush move that he had was a bull rush, and that's actually where you're a little bit nervous about someone, hence the reason why he's projected to go in the 7th and in the 6th round. But yeah, when you're 299 and you win using a bull rush, that ain't too good. But he really does have some really good strength for his size. PFF gave him a 9.5% run win rate, which is very, very good. So this guy, good run defender, pass rush, maybe not so much, but got some quickness to him. Big thing that you want to try and teach him is just, hey, if you were to go after him, he just needs more pass rush moves. So that's all the 7th or 6th round players. As you can tell, not really a big fan of some of the players that are out there deep, but all the way up. We're going all the way up to the 4th round where there are some sleepers. And I got to say, I think that people are sleeping on this defensive tackle class because when I was watching the defensive ends, I felt when I got into that 4th round, like, okay, this guy's pretty good. But like when we previewed the DNs, wasn't necessarily in love with any of those players. With some of these 4th rounders, I'm like, man, this is a very good defensive tackle class. And there's a lot of sleepers out there. So let's go right in. And actually, yeah, I see J2K with Yaya Black. I saw him, yeah, 7th rounder to UDFA out of Iowa. Yeah, he's more that, he was a little slow, run stuffer type of thing. Yeah, when you get in the 7th round, yeah, it's different. They're definitely different. And then also Victor, what is good, my friend? Bear down to you as well. Let's get into these 4th round sleepers because, man, there's some. Now, the Bears don't have a 4th round pick, but we could always trade back and potentially get someone. So I'm going to start out with consensus defensive tackle number 19, and that is J.J. Peegs. Now, this, I said sleepers with the 4th round. There's some that I like more than J.J. Peegs, but I wanted to bring him up because a lot of people do like this guy. And as a 4th round pick, as defensive tackle 19th and the consensus 141st player, this is someone that is just a versatile defensive tackle, defensive lineman out of Mississippi. 6'2", 309. To me, he reminds me of Bilal Nichols. And the reason why is because Bilal Nichols, as we all know, would kind of like just play his role, but nothing else. I didn't really see a great ceiling to J.J. Peegs, but I think a lot of defensive coordinators will like him because he could play all over the defensive line. He's a very, very quick player. He's got some good quickness to him. He's got a pretty good get off. And I think that's what defensive linemen will love. I mean, defensive coaches will love. And also too, the reason why I want to bring this guy up, even though that I'm not really a huge fan of his game, I like his game. But the big reason is this guy also played some fullback. So you got to know Ben Johnson might be like, hey, we might got to play this guy at some fullback because yeah, you put on his highlight film. He's you see like 50% is him running as fullback, and man, he's significantly better than Kramer at fullback. I'll tell you that much right now. He's He's very agile, moves very smoothly, but that's why defensive coordinators, I think, will really like him. Similar to a Bilal Nichols, not a huge ceiling, but someone that can give you a good amount of play at that defensive tackle. So let's see what y'all are saying out there. Broski, yeah, Peegs, running back. Yeah, it's just fun, right? It's just super fun to see him. So, and then, yeah, J2K saying, great kid. He did a lot of community work. Did not know that. And then also, yeah, special teamer. And then Joe's saying, wouldn't be surprised if Pulse trades back. Yeah, I do agree. I think that they could potentially trade back with that. So now let's go to another 4th round player where it's Aeneas Peebles. Probably the greatest last name out of all these players out here. But my wife will actually help me put together these profiles. Like, she'll grab the pictures and stuff, and she'll like type up the names. So yes, I got my wife working on these draft profiles too. So if you haven't, make sure to download that so you can appreciate the work of my wife as she helps me put these things together. So shout out to my wife. But Aeneas Peebles, 6 foot 282. And his big way of how he wins is just penetration style. This guy is, yes, smaller, 6 foot, but he does use his small stature to his ability. This guy also is very maxed out in his weight. Like, yeah, he's 6 foot, but he is just rocked up. Like, he is absolutely rocked out, maxed out his body. So some people see that as a negative. Some people see that as a positive. But yeah, short and small, that's his negative. But when you look at it, 17.8% pass rush win rate. This guy just goes through players. He could be a 3rd down specialist if the Bears want that. Now, would the Bears really want that? I kind of hesitate just because Chris Williams, I felt, had some penetration power if he's going to be that kind of 4th defensive tackle in your progression. But Peebles, yeah, he can't hold his ground in the run game. There's times where Peebles is just being pushed over. Not a boulder, acting more like a pebble when he's getting pushed back. But the way that he wins is that penetration. PFF gave him the 7th highest defensive tackle grade that's out there at 89.1. Big reason this guy penetrates and attacks the passer, even though he only had 3 sacks, 31 hurries, and 17.8 pass rush win rate for a defensive tackle is insane. So Peebles, if he were to be drafted, more of a pass rush specialist. So let's see what y'all have to say. Yeah, Peebles, yeah, lesser version of Norman Lott. Yeah, shout out Brad's wife. Heck yeah. So yeah, let's keep on going. We got even more out there from a defensive perspective. Also, Broski saying Ben said he viewed Gibbs as a weapon, not a running back when drafting him. He said the same thing about Warren. Ben has a thing for Warren. I do agree with that. I think it was like Ben Devine on Twitter posted something where he's like, yeah, I got the Bears draft board. And if he actually did that, then because it does look like it. No matter what it was, it seemed like what the Bears would actually do with their draft pick, right? Ashton Jeanty, more news is coming out that the Bears are super interested in him. No shock here, right? We all knew that the Bears would really want Ashton Jeanty. But yeah, I really do feel like the Bears are going to go Jeanty, or like, I doubt that Jeanty will actually be there. But if he is, I think they're sprinting up the card. I think it's going to be down to like a Tyler Warren and actually the defensive tackle that we're going to be talking about at number 1, Mason Graham. If he ends up dropping, I think it's going to be a debate with those two because, yeah, I think the more that I think about Warren in this offense, man, it's going to be fun. So, yeah. Well, let's keep on going, though, with some of these players, and let's go deeper into the 4th round. So Peebles was the number 137th consensus player, but let's go into the Vernon Broughton out of Texas. And just for that, chat, I'm going to go change. We're going to go with the burnt orange right here. I'll go white and orange right this since Broughton's got I'll actually change these for each one. I'll change it to the colors. But with Broughton, out of Texas Longhorn, 6'5", 311, reminds me of Nathan Shepard. This guy is the consensus 129th player on the consensus big board, D tackle number 17. I'm curious, what do y'all think about him if you've seen him out there? Because I'm a little bit lower, believe it or not. I'm slightly lower with Broughton than others. Because the reason why I kind of get thrown off with them, actually, because where he's at with the consensus board, I like, but I see some people that are like, this guy should be in the second. This guy should be, upper third. Like the Bears should get him at 70s. I'm like, yeah, I'm not that high on this guy. What's great about him is his pass rush moves. This guy is very good at penetrating. 86.3 pass rush grade last season for PFF, 13% pass rush win rate, and then also a 17.6% run win rate, had 4 sacks, 26 hurries. And this guy, the reason why putting him in the same conversation of Peebles, that's where you kind of lose me a little bit, where they're very, very close together in the consensus board. Broughton, 6'5", long arms at 35-inch arms, and he can go through double teams. He more so tries to kind of shoot the gap between the double team, and it works. He gets in the backfield consistently. Now, something that did get me a little bit nervous is his feet after he wins. I didn't see a lot of short area quickness after the fact of that, and you saw a lot of plays get kind of left on the table where, yeah, he beats his guy, but you have to finish. You have to get to the quarterback. You have to get at the quarterback. And there was just so many times that you just don't see him finish a play. It's like, great, you beat your guy, but they're still running. They were still able to pass the football. That's some of the biggest negatives that I saw, just because you keep seeing like all this great stuff on tape. But yeah, when you consistently don't finish like that, that's where don't necessarily hate the guy, but it's someone that could be a huge steal. So definitely someone to at least look out for. Like I said, I think in that early fourth, where he's kind of projected, I think that's good. That's where he should be kind of projected. Late third, it's a little rich for me, but still Vernon Broughton, a lot better than what I think a lot of other people are kind of talking about. So let's see what y'all are saying. Yeah, Broski's saying, Brett having a good time. I am. I got my little clicker, and I can just change it to whatever I want. So Victor's saying back up. Broski's saying poor man's Jervon Dexter, and Taco Man saying bear down, Mr. Taco Man. Hope you are doing well. So now let's get into our next guy, another 4th round player. And this person, I like a little. I like a lot, and I'm not going to do green and yellow because that's too much Packer colors for me. So I'm just going to go green and green with this. And we're going to go with Jamari Caldwell out of Oregon, 6'2", 332. And do you know why I love this guy? Because he reminds me of everyone's favorite player, Andrew Billings, Big Bill. We all love Andrew Billings out there. And man, this guy just plays like Andrew Billings. 126 consensus overall player, defensive tackle, number 16. He had 29 tackles, 0 sacks, and 22 hurries last season, a 9.3% pass rush win rate, and a 7.5% run win rate. Now, the thing that I really, really like about this guy is he has one of the most impressive first steps that you'll see. And I think it was Connor Rogers from CBS talk about this, where I'm stealing this because it's too spot on. Like, everybody has that one fat, overweight friend that can just dance better than everybody else. Like, as soon as music comes on, they're dancing it better than everyone. They're like just quick, they're nimble with it. That's Jamari Caldwell. He is the dancing bear, like super quick, where you just go, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it, but you can do it. Incredible first step quickness, very good hands. Like, that's why he reminds me of Billings. When we watch Billings, he's not just somebody that anchors. He's someone that can penetrate, that can use his hand movements and get past the guy. Very athletic, but also too, I see him as kind of like a Kenneth Grant light. Yet again, this is someone projected to go in the 4th round. Kenneth Grant out of Michigan, more so in the mid 1st. Very good hustler as well out there, just constant motor running. Now the negatives, why is he projected to go all the way down here? Shorter frame, right? Shorter arms, 6'2", just like an Andrew Billings. The big thing though that I want to see him do when you're this size, his anchoring, it can get improved a little bit. I think he's still very good at it, but it feels like he wasn't kind of going to it, right? He didn't realize, and kind of similar to like a Kenneth Grant. Sometimes I felt Kenneth Grant kind of getting into him a little bit. Both of these guys kind of don't secure the point of attack and kind of just hold down, anchor down. It looks like they're more so trying to make a play than kind of doing their job as like a nose tackle, as like the big boy that's supposed to kind of take on the blocks, hold that line of scrimmage. But really, Caldwell projected to go in the 4th or 5th. This to me is somebody that like he can be somebody great. I really, really like Jamar Caldwell. Out of all the people that we just talked about, this is the guy that I think has one of the best chances to do something in the NFL. So now, let's keep on going where there's another player. There's a lot of players that we're going to be going through. Like I said, I'm even skipping some because it should be around the 20 mark. And we got Jordan Phillips, redshirt sophomore out of Maryland. And I'll keep on changing the colors out there. We'll go with some red and yellow now. But redshirt sophomore, 6'2", 312 pounds. And he's projected to go in the 4th round. Reminds me a little bit of Aleem McNeil, because McNeil's kind of got a slightly smaller, kind of strong frame to him. And Jordan Phillips is just a beast when it comes to just pure, raw strength. And this guy just bulls rush, just gets right off the snap. It's being 6'2", like he's not the tallest, but he's not the shortest. But man, he gets right underneath the guy and just pops him right under and just keeps on pulling him back, pushing him back. Now, the thing with him, I really like this guy. I think that he's got a lot of potential, but 0 sacks in 2 years. And a big reason is it's the weirdest thing to watch. You watch him and you just go, this guy doesn't want to sack the quarterback. And that's what I kind of love it about him, because you go, this guy is dedicated to the dirty work of stopping the run. Like he literally will like push the guy back, hold it. And you know that he could do like other things, but he's always like, all right, where's that running back? This is my job. I'm taking out the running back. And that's what like low key I really respect about the dude is he can win. 11% pass rush win rate is a good win rate when you're talking about a defensive tackle. And also too, 7.6 run win rate, pretty decent. Man, he's got some pop. He's got some strength. The big thing is he needs, I think, you need to ask him, hey, why weren't you going after the quarterback? Why? It was the weirdest thing to see, where it just feels like he doesn't want to actually go after it. So maybe he's coached that way, or maybe he just needs to develop more pass moves and get better. But man, his spins are just something that is fun to watch. But let's see what y'all have to say. We got some good run stuffer, good tackler. Broski saying Phillips is tough. He'll serve a purpose in the NFL. I do think so. And he says, I think people get carried away with D tackles getting sacks anymore. Yeah. The majority of D tackles, yeah, they don't get sacks. And then Victor saying young, athletic, freak, explosive, a good run defense, but needs a lot of development in pass rush. Yeah, that is a good call. Jordan Phillips, a wrestler. Anytime that there's a lineman, I should put that on everything. That should be the new badge. Is like if there's a badge for wrestler, because it always seems like Zach Frazier coming out, wrestler out of West Virginia, dominates first year. It's just the whole reason why wrestling is so good and why you see it with like a Jordan Phillips. He understands his leverage, right? Wrestling is all leverage. And that's exactly what Jordan Phillips has mastered out there. So let's keep on going. And what we're going to do is now we're kind of in this borderline 3rd round, 4th round. And this guy, to me, is the person that I want to see chat. Where are y'all at with CJ West? What does everybody think about him? Because I'm seeing CJ West get a lot of love now. I'll do the double. I'll do a white and a red going on with this. So for CJ West, defensive tackle out of Indiana, 6'1", 316, redshirt senior, consensus 107th player, defensive tackle 13th, and also projected 3rd round to 4th round. This guy reminds me a little bit of Timmy Jernigan, just Timmy Jernigan coming out, smaller stature out of Florida State, kind of like that CJ West. CJ West, 83.8 PFF grade overall, and man, this guy's just explosive. You put on the tape and he just jumps out. And that's the thing with a lot of these, like Jordan Phillips and other players that we're going to be talking about. You just see them and you're like, wow, this is a 4th rounder? like these players are supposed to go all the way down there. That's when I was like, man, this class is so freaking good. I even heard someone, I think, I forgot who it was like 20 defensive tackles could go in the first 4 rounds, or like they have 4th round or higher grades on at least 20 different defensive tackles. And it's just that good of a class. There's so many defensive tackles that you can go after that it's deep, just like the defensive end group. Deep class. And when you look at CJ West, 88.1 run grade, 11.4% run win rate, 10.1% pass rush win rate. So solid with that. 2 sacks, 19 hurries, 42 total tackles. And also something that I love about this guy that I had to include, he's a Chicago boy. So grew up in Chicago. Always love to kind of bring somebody back home to Chicago. But man, CJ West, very, very fast first step. And also too, tries to shoot the gap a little bit more than others. Just with that first step, very twitchy, high energy guy. You can just see him going nuts all the time, and just some very, very good power to his game. So is able to just explode off the ball and hit some power. Also too, not great length and can get taken for a ride a little bit. That is one of the big negatives that I do have with CJ West, is kind of when it comes down to the run game. And as soon as you see it, if he goes against a larger defensive tackle, he's not necessarily going to hold his own, kind of gets pushed out. Yet again, well, if that's the case, why did he have a great PFF grade? Just because of the whole penetration style, trying to get in. Very, very penetrative, explosive player, but just needs to hold his own. Obviously, poor length, but just needs to hold his own when it comes down to anchors. Also, I see Broski out there saying, yeah, West is similar to Phillips. Funny thing, I literally thought I had the same exact tape on when because I watched West and then I watched Phillips. And yeah, I literally thought it was the same player. So yeah, at first I was like, wait a second, because they're similar size profile, 6'1", 316, both wearing red. Yeah, but both of them, very disruptive players, very attack type of players out there. Both pretty darn good. Perez is saying, I think he goes earlier, strong and powerful. I agree. I think West is going to go a little bit earlier just because of the potential that this guy does have. Because man, you just see him, man. He just goes crazy with it. I love it. But let's keep on going. Now I think we're kind of getting into the 3rd round. That's right. We're just getting into the 3rd round. I don't know how many players we've already kind of talked about, but we're already going into the 3rd round already. So let's talk about the guy that is kind of at the top end of the 3rd round, and that's Deion Walker out of Kentucky, 6'7", 331 junior. Reminds me of Fedarian Mathis, just because Fedarian Mathis was also just huge. There's not many people that are Deion Walker's size. Deion Walker, 71.2 PFF grade, which was good for 254th on the PFF big board, on the PFF board. But this guy, 1.5 sacks last season, 0 QB hits, 18 hurries. Now, I think that when you see 6'7", 331, you know what this guy's perk is. This guy's giant. This guy's just absolutely huge. And also, former team captain. So you know his teammates like them, but also just gargantuan. It's like a legitimate 6'7", measured in at 6'7", 331. And the whole thing with it, he just needs a good coach, right? You have to believe that you're a better coach than the D-line coach at the University of Kentucky. And this guy just, as soon as he gets out of his snap, he's obviously 6'7". He needs to stay low, but he just pops right up, and then people are able to get underneath him. And also, too, something that I saw is sometimes he plays like he's not 6'7", 331. Like he's trying to be quick. I don't know what it is with large guys in this draft, like Kenneth Grant, also kind of thinking, like doing more like finesse moves rather than using their natural power and just being absolutely gigantic. That is something with Deion Walker, is just definitely tries to be a little bit finessey, but honestly, a good athlete. And I'm glad that he's a good enough athlete that this kind of makes sense for him. Yet again, when you're taking somebody that has all the traits, think about it like what the Bears did with Javon Dexter. Deion Walker's in a similar boat. but I think he almost has more traits being 6'7", 331. That's where Deion Walker going in this third round kind of makes sense. Do I want him on the Bears? No, not really. I'll kind of pass. And Broski's saying too, also has a fractured back. Yeah, that's not good, especially if you're 6'7". And because that also assists in this whole bad pad level thing that he's got going on. And yeah, Taco Man saying Dennis is going to love him. Yeah, yep, for sure. And then, Victor saying huge. Yeah, that played basketball, pretty agile, starter caliber. Yeah, that's the thing. With some of these players, there's a lot of good athletes, a lot of people that could potentially be something. Yeah, Deion Walker right up there with it. Defensive tackle number 12 on the consensus big board. But now moving on down, here we go, to number 11. This is someone that I see a lot of people really, really liking out there, and that's Omar Norman Lott. Tennessee, 6'2", 291, defensive tackle number 11, the consensus 83rd overall player. So let me know, chat, what do y'all think about Omar Norman Lott if you've seen him out there? Because this is another person that I'm seeing a lot of people start to love. And it's a hard eval because Tennessee, for anybody that watches Tennessee, they do not play their players frequently. So Omar Norman Lott, here we go. I have the snaps. 225. Now, it wasn't like he was banged up or injured. That's a starter. That's a starter caliber reps. So the thing that I kind of feel like you need to take with a grain of sand is that with 225 snaps, you're kind of like, okay, you're very, very well energized as you go in. So are you just able to out-muscle, out-effort people because you just got your breather and you're able to come in and you just play a couple snaps a game, right? That is something that you kind of have to say, okay, do we believe that he can handle a full workload? But that's just the way that Tennessee rolls out a lot of their pass rush, or their just defensive linemen is kind of this quick type of piece. But also last season, 4 sacks, 13 hurries, 9 quarterback hits, and a whopping 18.9% pass rush win rate against the SEC, 6% run win rate, 81.6 pass rush grade, and a 68.1 run grade, 88.3 grade in true pass rush snaps, which means when this guy knows it's going to be a pass, this guy dominates. He reminds me a little bit of Fletcher Cox, basically just any Eagles defensive lineman, because this guy is just a violent attacker, and his first step is the best in the entire class. As soon as they snap it, this guy's jumping. I don't know what Tennessee knows about first snaps. Maybe it's a coaching thing, but him and James Pierce always seem to time the snap so well at Tennessee. They just instantly, off the snap, attack the quarterback, try to get past people, and Norman Lott, he's got the NFL strength that you want. Violent player as he's attacking, and very short quickness. Very good player. I really, really like this guy. And especially if he's around the third round, I think Omar Norman Lott is someone that kind of sneaks into that second round and goes higher than people expect, just because a lot of people really, really like what this guy has to offer. Some of the negatives, though, I think that he could benefit from learning a little bit more pass rush moves. Not a great plan of attack after that first step, but still very, very effective pass rusher. Also, I saw too, a lot of times it was weird. He played with his belly to belly on a lot of players, not necessarily using his hands as much as you like to kind of create some space and separation like that. Always kind of bellied up on some people, and kind of winning that way. Because right at the snap, he's already belly to belly right there. So what y'all think about Omar Norman Lott? Omar Norman Lott. Kind of difficult to say. But what's good, Ron? Bear down to you, my friend, and Florida Bears fan. You got here late, but hey, bear down, Bears Nation indeed. So let's keep on going. And then Victor saying too, starts as a rotational player, but effective, especially in passing situations. That's the good part about Norman Lott. That's exactly what he had to do at Tennessee, and the Bears kind of need some of that. So I don't mind it. I like what Taco Man said. I wouldn't be mad with it. But that's piece of it. That's a piece of it for sure. So now let's keep on going down. And now we go to Josh Farmer, Florida State defensive tackle, 6'3", 305, red shirt junior. And man, this guy, 81 consensus player, defensive tackle, number 10. Reminds me a little bit of Keanu Benton. I felt like that was a little high of praise, but I couldn't really think of anybody else. Because Keanu Benton coming out of Wisconsin, phenomenal. A lot of people really, really liked him. And I just think that this player overall, Josh Farmer, just really good. I really, really liked and appreciated what he had. Let me just change my lights real quick. They all kind of look, I don't really have gold. All right, here we go. I'll just do the gold this way. There we go. So with Josh Farmer, 9.4% pass rush win rate, 9.4% run win rate. And this guy, 35-inch arms. He is what you want at a 3-technique defensive tackle. That's where for the Bears, I don't really think that we necessarily, do we need a 3-technique? Because we have Grady Jarrett and we also have Javon Dexter that they might want to play that. But still, Josh Farmer, this guy just checks the boxes. Long arms, NFL athlete. He's got the speed. He's got very, very high power in his moves. And it's his hands, man. Like as soon as he jumps off the snap, he just pops the guy. He pops the offensive lineman and just jolts them back. He's kind of everyone's got like their little tiers. This is kind of the one step up of when we were going through Jordan Phillips a little bit. But Farmer is definitely more of a pass rusher, even though that's still less than 10%, which is not great. But man, this guy just is a very, very just hard working dude. Now, the negative, even though he's very powerful, has all these moves, his anchor. He's a strong, it's weird. He's strong at the point of attack to try to push you. But when it comes down to like holding his ground, not great inside of the run game that way, kind of gets pushed off his spot. A little bit of that. So not great there. And also too, just needs a couple more pass rush moves to really kind of fill out that arsenal. So that's why I'm trying to find a better comp than Keanu Benton, because I think Benton was just different coming out. And a lot of people just, I was gonna give that to almost like Omar Norman Lott. But Farmer, I couldn't really think of somebody. But yeah, he's projected 3rd, 4th round. PFF's grade of 63.5, so not great there. But 554th when it comes down to defensive tackles grades in PFF. But let's see what we're seeing out there. Taco Man saying 4-3. Yep, we're running that 4-3 system for sure. Victor saying violent, explosive, and powerful hands. Yeah, it is that anchor for sure. I definitely agree. That's the big negative when it comes down to Farmer. So now let's keep on going. There's even more. And now we're right at the borderline, or we're kind of right at that borderline of the 3rd round. And actually, I'm going to say it. We're going to get into the 2nd round now. I'm going to say this is officially 2nd round range. So we've already gone through what, like 10 plus defensive tackles already. So if you're still watching out there and you appreciate all the stuff that we've been going through, make sure to like and subscribe. Hit the like button. Helps out the channel tremendously. Let your friends know. So that they can download the draft guide and you can see it. Even if they're not a Bears fan, draft guide is for everybody. So let's get into this 2nd round, because this seems like the spot, in my opinion, that the Bears are going to get a defensive tackle, if they're going to get a defensive tackle, or maybe one of these guys drops to the Bears. So this is going to be the key one, right? This is the important section. Do not move. So let's get into the 2nd round and talk about who's out there. And we're going to start out, wait for it, with Shamar Turner. Actually, I totally bypassed this guy. This is someone that is projected to go in the 3rd round, consensus number 78th overall player, defensive tackle, number 9, projected to go in the 3rd round. Rumor has it, a lot of people really like what Shamar Turner has to bring because of the high athlete profile. I forgot who it was. I think it was in Todd McShay, or no, it wasn't Todd McShay. I heard from one of the big draft guys that Shamar Turner, look for him in the 2nd, but at the same time, I feel like I've been saying that about a good handful of people. Shamar Turner is just a constant motor, very, very athletic defensive tackle out of Texas A&M, 6'3", 290 senior, only 2 sacks last season, which we have to bring this up. I don't know what it is about Texas A&M, but Texas A&M their defensive tackle, their entire defensive line sucked. Like we'll talk about this over and over and over again with Shamar Turner, Shamar Stewart, even like Nick Scorton. These guys are supposed to be really good. And here I'm going to do we're going to do pink. It's the closest thing to maroon that I got. But anyways, yeah, these guys were supposed to be so unbelievable, so great, and none of them really lived up to their potential. And we'll talk about Walter Nolan. This is someone who was at Texas A&M, was an Aggie, and then shifts over and then does great elsewhere. So maybe people are thinking maybe their defensive line coach does suck, right? Because Shamar Turner comes in 59.4 grade for PFF, which is 714th among defensive tackles. This guy, though, reminds me of Lamar Houston, where he's kind of that tweener. Being at that 290, he was playing more of a defensive end role, shifts down into the defensive tackle role, and this guy is just fiery. He's just like, even the picture, sticking his tongue out and everything like this, just a character, crazy motor, very, very, very quick, long arms as well. So he gives you all the things that you want out of a defensive lineman. Like another guy named Shamar out of Texas A&M. He's got more sacks, though, than Shamar Stewart. But also, too, Shamar Turner just wins with his arm moves. Like, he's got some great, great moves in his arsenal. Now, because I was like, how did I word that? Because I said hits the arm moves a lot. And then I remember what it was. Because the comp that I have for him is like a kid playing Madden that doesn't know what to do, or an adult playing Madden, doesn't know what to do, and just keeps on like smacking moves like, all right, more moves, more moves, more moves. That's what Turner looks like sometimes, where he it's weird. Like, he doesn't really have a plan. He's just kind of like attacking. Like, I'm just going to keep throwing hands at you, keep throwing moves at you, and hopefully one of them will beat you. But also, too, Turner, I think he's a small D tackle. I think I kind of like him at D end, honestly, a little bit more. I thought he played a lot better at D end than at D tackle. Also, a big negative is that kind of because of this whole size profile, not necessarily having a pass rush plan, you saw him feast against bad competition. His best plays, bad competition. Good teams were able to stop him. That's kind of a little bit of a negative there, because good players did not have a problem with him, but feasted against bad. That's usually a bad sign right there. But let's see what y'all have to say. We got Ron out there. Ron, you're not a new sub. I appreciate it. If you weren't this whole time, man, you'd be crazy. But let's see what we're saying. Florida's saying Nolan would be great. Yeah, we'll definitely be talking about Nolan. I really like Nolan. Victor Perez, yeah, 3-tech or D end. I agree with you right there. Yeah, Joe saying Shamar has promise, but not production, similar to Danielle Hunter. True. And then Ron, yeah, he plays Madden 25. It just came out on Xbox Game Pass, so like with EA Play. So I started playing that a little bit more. Johnny PayPal, my old co-host, I don't know how many people knew this, but yeah, he played Madden in college. He was actually really good. He actually ended up going to like a national championship. Like, he was like legit, legit good at it. So, but let's keep on going. Let's talk about some TJ Sanders. Let's go with the red and let's go with the white for the background, or I guess double. Here we go. So now let's get into TJ Sanders. And this is someone that I really like. And we haven't really talked too much about this guy on the show. TJ Sanders out of South Carolina, 6'4", 297, redshirt junior. He's got the badge from the NFL. So for those that don't know or missed out on a show, that little badge in the top left is on the draft profiles for people that are above a 75 in both production and also athleticism in next-gen stats, signifying that you're legit, that you'll probably be able to make it good in the NFL. And this guy reminds me of Michael Hall Jr. coming out. It was last year or the year before that, out of Ohio State, where this guy was just quick, fast. And TJ Sanders, just like literally the thing with him, and maybe I should have put this as his biggest negative, this guy just like needs more pass rush moves, because he'll just hit you with the bull rush and just attack you. And quite frankly, it worked. 51 tackles as a D tackle, 4 sacks, 19 hurries, a 12.6% pass rush win rate, 8.8% run win rate. This guy was good. 31st highest graded defensive tackle according to PFF. And man, this guy just penetrates. The negative though, run defense, I have questions with. Yet again, this is someone who wins in, quote unquote, wins in the run game by penetrating, by attacking. Not someone that you're going to really kind of rely on with anchors. But still, very, very productive. Someone that could be a third down player for the Bears. And yet again, can we develop him? Can we teach him a couple more moves as kind of a backup? It's always hard to do that because it's then the live bullets flying. But Sanders, very, very penetrative, like his just overall explosiveness, quick and fiery type of a guy. And I agree with Taco Man. Guy does need to put on some weight, but I also agree with Victor. Stud. Exactly. I do agree. I do think that this guy is a stud. And yeah, he's projected to go consensus number 65. If he drops to the Bears, I love that. He's someone that I see a lot of people that know him, kind of putting him up in that second round category. But like I said, we haven't talked about him too much on the show. Big fan of TJ Sanders myself. So now we have even more. And that is Alfred Collins out of Texas. We talked about him before. This is someone that we've done in some different mocks and talked about him a little bit. Defensive tackle out of Texas, 6'6", 332. This guy reminds me of A'Shawn Robinson coming out of Alabama because A'Shawn Robinson was just purely stronger than everybody else. That's what Alfred Collins is. He's so much fun to watch because he just gets his hands on you and just imposes the power of God into the blockers in front of him. It's just, he's a lot of fun to watch. And that's something that I like what Alfred Collins has to bring just because of the pure raw strength. Now, the question, do I see him as a pass rusher? I think that's the question that everyone's kind of talking about. I've also seen the comp for Akeem Hicks with him. That's another one that I really like. He's also a little bit slow. That's some of the negatives with him, but his profile is really, really fun. It seemed to be like he was flying up, but yeah, I see Joe out there saying, yeah, he's starting to kind of drop a little bit. And I think the reason for him dropping is it's the whole thing of like him being a little bit of a slow mover and this being such a rich defensive tackle class. And something that I do get a little bit nervous about when it comes down to people that win with strength is, yet again, everybody's bigger and stronger than they were in college. So are they not going to be able to get tossed around as much as what Alfred Collins was able to do? So he still has some very long arms. He's got the size. He's got the profile that you want. And also, too, I think that what's crazy is everyone talks about like Deion Walker being this gigantic, gargantuan defensive tackle, being 6'7", 331. But no one's talking as much about Alfred Collins being an inch shorter and basically the same size, same exact size. So that's someone that I really like out there. Yet again, a lot of these second round defensive tackles are pretty darn good. A Florida Bears fan saying, since DA is our DC, I've been looking at what his defenses look like, which would tell us they're looking at pressure from our front seven should be really intense versus Fluce's defense. That's right, because he had like Sheldon Rankins and another person that we will be talking about next. So someone that he had on that defense was David Onyemata. And someone who reminds me of David Onyemata, one and only Darius Alexander out of Toledo, 6'4", 310. He's a polls guy. He tested above a 8.00 at the RAS score. So an athletic, tested very, very well athletically, and also is at the Senior Bowl. Also, he is in that magic quadrant of NFL Next Gen stats where he's both productive and athletic. He sits at 6'4", 310. So good size. And really, when I just put on the tape, he's just a good player. And at the Senior Bowl, dominated the Senior Bowl, turned a lot of heads at the Senior Bowl. And that's something that a lot of people, especially Ryan Poles, likes. Because if you did well at the Senior Bowl, then you're somebody that like can probably hold their own at the NFL level. So that's, and let me just change my colors up real quick. I kind of like it. I kind of like changing it up. I just wish that I could program this thing. But yeah, so he also has very long arms. Like I said, he gives you everything that you want out of a defensive tackle, except for age. He's gonna be 25 years old this year. So that's something that's a little bit negative, but he did do well at the Senior Bowl. Needs to develop a little bit better of a pass rush plan. Doesn't have like necessarily the super top end traits that you would see out of a first rounder, but to me, second round all day. I think the thing that I love about this guy more than like anyone else, I feel very, very confident that you just draft Darius Alexander, and he might not be unbelievable, but he's going to give you good play day one as a starter, as a backup, whatever we want for him at the D tackle role. That's something that I really, really like. And like I said, the David Onyemata comp, I think that he's going to be pretty darn close to what the Bears want and what DA wants. Dennis Allen wants inside of this defense. So yeah, Florida fan agrees with me out there. And yeah, great run defense, 90.3 PFF grade in run defense, 90.1 overall PFF grade. And also too, I forgot I put through this as his big weakness, consistency. Yeah, like there's these high like I said, there's these high end plays that you see, you just want to see more of that. Like he's solid, but yeah, you want to see just kind of the plus play more consistently out of him. So let's keep on going down. That's right. There's even more second round draft picks. So take a deep breath, stretch out a little bit. We're getting down to what? The top 6 now? So top 5, actually. We're going with Tyleik Williams, the consensus defensive tackle, number 5, consensus 43rd player overall. And we have talked about this guy before in the past because I mocked him over to the Bears. We're going all white because he's going all white in the snow as well. Ohio State, 6'3", 334. So he's Alfred Collins, just kind of condensed. And just like that, he is a big run stuffer. Now, the big question is, do they believe that run stuffing, the size, the power profile is going to translate at the next level? Now, Tyleik Williams, he could be somebody that ends up dropping just because he is only a run stuffer. Can't expect anything out of him in the pass. One of the reasons why I've mocked him to the Bears, why I think the Bears would really like this guy, is just think about what they said about Andrew Billings. Ben Johnson said when Andrew Billings went down, this was a different defense. Billings was someone that could hold that line. They need somebody else that can do that. You can't just keep on relying on Andrew Billings. You need to build up that depth. Tyleik Williams will give you that depth. So, like I said, not necessarily the best pass rusher overall. Doesn't have a lot of great moves. But man, this guy just sheds blocks so well. He's pretty darn good when it comes down to the double teams. He moves well with the line. Exactly what you want. This is a run defending specialist that can be that 1 tech, 0 tech, however you want. He's that nose tackle for you. Now, we were just talking about this with Dennis Allen. Is this not a Dennis Allen guy? Does he want someone more like an Alfred Collins that kind of gives you some of that pass rush upside, but also can stop the run? Does he want more penetrative styles like a Darius Alexander? All of these are good questions for this second round. So seems like a lot of y'all like Tyleik. I do too. Like I said, lots and lots of great players. That's why I haven't done like inside of the draft guide. Like if you download it, you'll see I haven't done my big boards yet and like my rankings just because I don't know what it is this year. This year, the players have been so hard to just be like, I like this guy more than this guy. I just think that everything's kind of switching and changing a lot for sure. Also, question that Taco Man said, Dennis Allen blitzes a lot. It did depend because I did pull up his blitz rates. When he first started, he blitzed a lot, but then later on, he didn't blitz as much. And I think it was more so he got his pieces, but he does like to blitz. I think he's not someone that like Matt Eberflus, where Eberflus is like, yeah, we're not blitzing ever, right? I think he was always kind of like middle of the road, if anything like that. So likes it for sure. So let's see. And Victor Perez saying, hey, you seen Tyleik go 17? Wow. Let's go into the next, 23. There we go. So yeah, so let's get into the first round defensive tackles. And let's get this show on the road with number 4. So now we're at the top 4. And this is the one, the only, Derek Harmon. Now, Derek Harmon, I'll go double yellow. I think that kind of gets you that overall Oregon Ducks feel to this. Now, Derek Harmon, redshirt junior out of Oregon, 6'4", 313. Reminds me a little bit of Daquan Jones. He's projected to go early second, probably going to be a late first as well now. I think he's going to be in that first round range now because 31st consensus overall player, defensive tackle number 4. Maybe he does shift out a little bit more, but also too, 45 tackles, 5 sacks, 43 hurries, and 7 quarterback hits. This guy won 17.6% of the time for his pass rush win rate, which is just crazy, absolutely crazy. 86.3 pass rush grade and an 80.5 run grade. He transferred from Michigan State in 2024 and dropped a whole bunch of weight. I want to say it was like 30 pounds, like 20 or 30 pounds. It still feels like he needs to drop more weight. Like he continues to drop weight, but a lot of it is because I don't like D tackles being top heavy or just linemen being top heavy. You need a thick lower half. You need to be doing some squats so you can anchor and you can really attack. Harmon, it seems like he's starting to lose some of that weight, which is a big concern for me. Still pops up a little bit with his high pads, and also can be what I call like a little bit stubby, where like your feet just, I don't know how to like describe it, but like the feet just kind of are a little bit awkward when it comes down into some congested areas a little bit, when it's in those short, tight areas. But man, Harmon wins a lot. He's a 3-down defensive tackle. He can be a run stuffer. He can win in the pass. He can do it all. And this is when we get into this first round range where you get a lot of people that can do it. Now, Harmon, like we were saying, could potentially drop. I do like somebody more than Harmon, but he is actually, I should have put it out here. He is my defensive tackle number 4. I like him as a late first, early second. If he's there in the second, awesome. But I'm not absolutely head over heels over Derek Harmon. Just a good player. So a lot of people, Florida Bears fan, that's his sleeper right there. Saying boom is his best description. I like it. I like that. But then also too, yeah, Victor saying 1 or 3 tech, good pass rusher. Yeah, agreed. I definitely do agree. And the better anchor kind of adds into that whole like top heavy frame that he has as well. But man, he does pop. He does pop people in front. But this next guy, this is someone that I don't understand why he keeps dropping. People just, now he's the consensus 30th player overall, defensive tackle 3. He's my defensive tackle number 2. I am that high on this guy. That's Walter Nolan out of Mississippi. 6'4", junior, 296, number 1 recruit in high school coming out. So Ryan Poles is all over that. And really, the best way I would describe it is this is what you want in a D tackle. He's just powerful. He's just good. He's just fast. And also a very, 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 very good run defender. Reminds me a little bit of Devontae White coming out. More so of the situation than anything. Someone that's more like him, I'd say is kind of like a Jonathan Allen, where he's got some very good power, very good strength to his game. But I put Devontae White just because Devontae White was a very, very talented defensive tackle and dropped to the Packers, which I was pissed about because it's like, well, why is this guy dropping? I feel the exact same with Walter Nolan. This guy can play 3 downs. This guy had 6.5 sacks last season for Ole Miss. Someone who was escaped Texas A&M, comes over to Mississippi, looks great, and is the 8th highest graded defensive tackle in the SEC. Just absolutely crazy. Very strong tackler as well. I wish I had his missed tackle grade out there too. That's what makes him such a good run stuffer. Like when someone gets by him, he just latches on. And that is such an important skill and such an important trait that like he's able to beat the guy in front of him or like stand his ground on him and just be able to bring him down. Now, the big negative, I do want to see him get a slightly better pass rush plan. Still 6.5 sacks, good. for a defensive tackle, 10.9% pass rush win rate, 11.9% run win rate. Like I said, he eats up tackles when he's out there. But yeah, I think his pass rush moves, he could get a little bit better. He measured in with slightly shorter arms. I think it's 32.5 inches. So a little short on the arm department, but still I really like this guy. I really, really like this guy. And I hope, you know what, if other teams are watching this, don't take him. You know, I wouldn't take him with the pick higher than 39. let him wait. Because for some reason, Nolan just has dropped. Like, I don't know why. Sometimes with like drafts, I just don't get why certain players fall. Walter Nolan is one of those. He's a very, very good player. And I see what everyone else is saying out there. Yeah, agreed. Yeah, Victor's saying he wouldn't be mad if they took him at 10. Yeah, he's a good player. He's definitely someone that should go at like 15. So like, he's like right there for me. Like he's big board 15, not 30th. So Walter Nolan fans out there, I see us rising up. Yeah, Walter Nolan, darn good player. So now let's get into defensive tackle number 2, and then we'll finish it off with the big dog. So defensive tackle number 2 on the consensus big board is Kenneth Grant. I think he's my D tackle number 3. Number 22 overall on the consensus big board. Projected to go, obviously, in the first round. Reminds me a little bit of Dalvin Tomlinson, but just like how round he is. Defensive tackle out of Michigan, 6'4", 331 junior. And it's easy. There's so many 330 guys out there. So just it's power. And this guy has a next level athletic profile to him as well. Reminds me a little bit of BJ Raji as well. But I didn't want to put Raji because, you know, F Green Bay. And but even though I put Devontae Wyatt, it's like I still just remember Raji. Kenneth Grant though, 9.4% pass rush win rate, 7.9% run win rate. Now, the thing is, this guy is powerful. This guy, strong upper body. This is another person. I think he needs to do a little bit more squats. And this is also another person that I think he forgets how big he is. Sometimes it sounds weird. I don't see him anchor as well as I'd like to, but it seems like he's going for the big play. It seems like he's attacking. He's trying to shake some people off so he can get some sacks. But yeah, to me, I see some people saying Kenneth Grant with the 10th pick. I'm not there on it. I think that he's more of a late. I kind of put him up there with where I had T'Vondre Sweat last year, where to me, T'Vondre Sweat was a late first round grade. I actually kind of liked T'Vondre Sweat a little bit more just because I liked his kind of upside. But I think that Kenneth Grant to me has shown a little bit more one technique. I think that he could still play that a little bit better than like T'Vondre Sweat was exclusively a 3 tech at a gigantic size. Kenneth Grant, I think, has some more versatility to his game, but still, I kind of have him more in that late first, kind of mid-ish first, like 20 and over type of piece with Kenneth Grant. I also saw a little like pencil legs, little dots, like I said, a little stubby sometimes too, but yet again, somebody that could just blow up plays, strong, powerful, athletic, someone that could really, really be a gigantic upgrade over like an Andrew Billings, a very plus defender that I would love to see next to Gervon Dexter for years to come. So now we got to talk about the last guy, the top dog in all of this, and that is the one, the only Mason Graham. Now, Mason Graham has a good chance at being somebody that drops to the Chicago Bears. Why? Because people are obsessed with measurables, and also more and more is coming out about, well, maybe he didn't win as much as people would have liked during true pass sets, because in true pass sets, you have to win. I should have done his true pass set grade out there, but a lot of people were kind of questioning, okay, is he someone that you would like to see him win a little bit more? To me, don't overthink this. This guy's a good player, high motor, aggressive. Yes, he's got slightly shorter arms, and you want to see more of that length. But he measured in 6'3", 296. That also kind of turned some people off because I think he was measured at like 320. They're like, man, how can he move that fast? Well, because he was under 300 pounds. And I heard someone say, I think it was Trevor Sikkema from PFF gave Mason Graham the comp of Tommy Harris, and I just haven't looked back. Right, Tommy Harris shorter arms with some of that, but lighter weight, 3-tech. But I like Mason Graham. Don't overthink it. Right, PFF has like their stability metric where you can like have you graded above 75% in all of these different grades. That's what I do for my little badge, and I think he's the only D tackle that actually graded above 75% with everything. The next closest was actually Walter Nolan. He almost got it, and also Darius Alexander. But Mason Graham gets the badge for stability, someone that should be able to translate. He also gets the badge for NFL Next Gen stats, being athletic and productive enough. He checks the boxes, and I hope people overthink it. I hope he drops to the Bears. But yet again, it's like, for me, I want Mason Graham, I want or Tyler Warren or Ashton Genty, right? Give me the people that are like these blue, like these elite players. Just give me an elite player, right? I hope other people overthink it, but just overall with Mason Graham, this guy's just aggressive. This guy's just constantly going after it, just a constant motor and constantly fighting people off. I remember John Yurkovich watching Aaron Donald, and he said the thing about Aaron Donald is he doesn't like getting blocked. He's like, your D tackles should not like to get blocked. Like anytime that they get blocked, they just have to fight it off. That's the thing with Mason Graham for sure. But yeah, that's my overall thought with that. But let's see what people are saying out there. Yeah, Florida fans saying Mason Graham. And then, yeah, also Brad D tackle doesn't need long arms. See, that's the thing. I think here, Florida Bears fan, we can't say that though. We have to tell everybody. We have to say, hey, he's clearly not good enough. Mason Graham, undraftable. I would not take him with a top 10 pick. I would not take him with a top 9 pick. Let him drop down at 10. And then we'll take one of these elite players. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for hanging out with me tonight. And also, if you're listening to this on the podcast, thank you all so much. I'm a big podcaster, like I always say. So if you're listening out there, I appreciate you. So make sure to download the podcast so you can listen to it all and anywhere that you want. Also, hit that like button. It helps out the show tremendously. Make sure to subscribe. Leave a comment down below. Just a simple bear down helps out the show tremendously. And please download the free draft guide if you want to. It is free. I have put a lot of work into it, and my wife as well, as now you have all figured out. So with that, Unbearable Sports Podcast, we are out.